Just today I left Toretsk. There are heavy counter battles. Exactly. Urban battles are being fought. Very difficult, especially with the basements. What is the peculiarity? Do they set up firing points or ambushes in the basements? They have an impact mostly at the beginning, before they storm a multi-story building. They conduct fire damage, starting from the floors. As soon as our infantry approaches, starts cutting them off, begins to storm the apartments. At that moment they throw grenades to descend into the basement, and they hold the defense in the basement.
Are the basements standard? There are multi-story buildings.
Multi-story buildings, yes. But how are they standard? They have, if there are 3 entrances in the building, they have 3 basements, and they are all interconnected into one. That is, the passages from the first to the third are through, yes.
Uh-huh. Where do they set up their firing points? These vents, probably, right? Yes.
It turns out just this morning encountered this, trying to throw a TM into the building. They threw it, and it turns out they have vents at the corners of this building. They start firing from these vents with small arms.
So they don't let anyone approach the building, right?
Yes.
But if you've blocked the building, they are basically doomed, right?
They are doomed. They understand this perfectly well. Some surrender themselves, drop their weapons, armor, helmet, shout that they are surrendering, raise their hands and leave. And some stand their ground until the very end. Well, again, they stand until the very end. If we can't, break through this, basement, we barricade it so that they can't get out of there. In other words, we are basically burying them alive.
Have you really tried to understand why they stand there until the very end?
And those we captured or eliminated, they shout that they were brought here and told to hold the defense. They weren't told anything else. The command hasn't been in contact with us for a long time. We don't know the objectives. They just said to defend, and that's it.
So they're kind of autonomously running around Toretsk, right?
Yes.
Did we manage to evacuate our people? I know that many civilians were evacuated from Toretsk.
Yes. Well, there were 2 5-story buildings right in the center of Toretsk. It turns out that peaceful civilians were living there too. They were living there too. As I understood, they were living together with them in the same basement. They weren't allowed to go anywhere, and because of this, it was just difficult for us to flush them out.
They used them as cover.
They were using civilians as cover. Some civilians even ran out themselves. As soon as they ran out, they would cover about 400, 500 meters. And then from the Ukrainian side, they would start shelling them with mortars. Because people were running towards our side. They understand that people might tell us where they are and what numbers. And that's why they make sure to take them out on their way to us.
Their Kalashnikovs are increasingly being replaced by some Western weapons.
Most of them, yes, have Western weapons. I even encountered an MG machine gun, the German one. Well, it's kind of a general NATO one, right?
Yes. Is the MG used as a basis?
Well, they haven't found it. And that's it. But mostly there were machine guns and rifles of 5.45 and 7.62 as well.
What is the most unpleasant thing from the enemy's side? Its means of destruction.
Vampire. Baba Yaga. She, like us, carries TMs. She demolishes buildings, demolishes houses, but the personnel's morale does not falter. They understand this. They hide in basements. Then they dig themselves out and move to another place. As they all say, we destroy everyone. We have few losses. Few losses from the drones and this Baba Yaga. That's why there are few losses. Most of our losses occur only during movement. During movement, when there is no cover, then yes. But when there is cover, very few losses.
How about artillery? Do they use it as intensively?
Yes, because with the amount we have, they use much more. That is, they don't care about the number of people going. Here comes a group of 3 people, they can throw about 40 mines just at these 3 people. And the same with FPV drones, also targeting the group. I led a group of 4 people. We ran into a basement, took cover, they shelled us with mortars, and there were about 20 equivalent drones. Just for one group, they really don't hold back, right? Yes, they don't hold back on this. Since there is practically no contact among the personnel, no shooting combat, now it's a drone war.
I came to you with gifts. A kind Russian man living far away in Tanzania near Dar es Salaam. I've known him for a long time. He asked not to be publicized. He called me a month ago saying he received a bonus and wants to help the front. I trust only you to deliver it directly into the hands of the fighting guys. So I bought a drone, and I bought it in a very interesting way from a person who swore at the start of the special military operation. He had been importing drones from China for a long time, and when the special military operation began, he said he wouldn't mark up more than 10%. And it turned out that the drone was almost 80,000 cheaper than on Ozone. Plus the batteries are functional, not fake, so they will work properly. Please open it and see what's inside. Greetings from Tanzania. What does it say on it?
Greetings from Tanzania.
The item is very necessary for us both for reconnaissance and for conducting drops. We also perform drops. These include ammunition, provisions, and energy. That is, well, for the guys, the comrades on the front line, to whom it is very difficult to reach. We also drop food, water, that is, well, everything that can be dropped. We drop everything possible using such drones.
And how much weight can it lift? Load capacity.
Carries 700.
That's probably batteries, a bottle of water.
That's a can of stew, crackers, cigarettes. Or there could be a battery, power bank, maybe 5 bags to set up a position.
A radio is not just a device. They say they are consumables and they still get lost.
It's a consumable. It could be such that you pick it up, made 1 or 2 flights, everything gets lost, it gets jammed, it gets shot down. There is a strong hunt for them because they cause significant damage to the enemy. This very small device, it can dismantle a position. Well, it will definitely dismantle it in a day.
Well, drop after drop, right?
Drop after drop, it will dismantle the position in a whole day.
When will you return to Frontline?
Yes, already tomorrow. We are checking the initial settings. I would like to thank the guys from Tanzania for providing the Mavic 3 Pro, which will help us deliver fire damage, conduct drops on enemy positions, and identify targets. So this thing is very important for us. I think it will save many lives. Thank you very much. Victory will definitely be ours.
Well, generally, what domestic machines are you working with now besides the Mavic? What has appeared, interestingly?
We have FPV drones of our own production provided to us by the Ministry of Defense. These are BT-40 drones. Skvorci drones, Alaska. So we are also working with them. They are also used for drops and for eliminating enemy personnel. Mainly these are Mavics, BT-40, Alaska.
Has fiber optic come to you?
Fiber optic, yes. We work without fiber optic.
Are there any particular features?
There are features with fiber optic. Firstly, it is slightly larger in size. It's a bit more difficult to control. Why is it more difficult? Because you have a reel at the back that doesn't allow you to maneuver much. It needs to be operated very smooth. And not too high, right? And not too high.
What does the enemy have that we lack? You mentioned large drones.
The enemy is currently very actively using drones like the vampire type. We call them Baba Yaga. They make our work very difficult. They are mainly engaged in road mining and dropping. So such a vampire drone can lift 15-20 kilograms easily.
That's probably 40 mines, right? In Bakhmut, it dropped right in front of me on the road.
So mining also greatly complicates the work. This is to deliver ammunition, to bring provisions. They mine the roads, it's just impossible to approach. Every day, every other day, transport flies, explodes, people get injured. This greatly complicates the work.
Do you think war has moved in the small sky? Can we say that?
Yes. Now, the war has mainly moved to the sky. Because even in the sky, when we conduct reconnaissance, drones with ropes have started flying very actively in our direction. That is, a drone flies up from above, descends with a rope, and knocks down your Mavic with this rope. Or, on the contrary, we do it that way. So, even such a situation happened about 2 days ago. We were conducting reconnaissance in our direction, saw an enemy drone, and a skirmish just started there, like drone on drone, with ropes.
Wow.
It's like an aerial war.
Are there any interesting drops from the enemy's side?
At one time, a video was circulating online. Like with Baba Yaga, just burning down the forest plantation, there was a stream, either of magnesium or phosphorus.
They're also very well developed in the area of incendiaries, especially during the summer period. We haven't quite reached that point yet, but the enemy already has such developments. The incendiaries just fly over the forest strip. Just a stream of fire, pouring and simply surviving.
Traps. They put them on their drones like some we've encountered.
But there have been cases, yes, we haven't encountered them specifically.
Oh, proportions. How would you say, is there more use of artillery or drones from the enemy side now, and a lot of drones? Well, they don't hold back at all.
Well, for one person, there can be 20, 30 drones flying out.
The Rebbe?
There are a lot of Arabs, a lot of good Rebs that really affect the drones. Drones fall, get lost, there's a lot of that too.
For this Mavic, for example, how will the enemy's RE be affected?
How will it affect? The operator is flying, hovering in the air, and with just a snap of the fingers, he loses the signal with the drone. The drone hovers in the sky. It flies in free flight, gets carried away, well, by the wind in an unknown direction if the operator doesn't catch it. All this takes minutes. How old are you? How did you join the army at 23? Joined in 22nd year. On January 1st? After finishing studies, immediately before the word, it turns out yes, 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 and as if it already... It started in 20 days.
Well, yes. And where are you from?
Horlivka.
From Horlivka. Aha. The enemy's behavior hasn't changed at all, right, in the last...
The behavior hasn't changed. That is, their spirit more or less falls, well, only when we start to pressure them. Then they try something mock. There are those people who are the majority. Holding the defense, these are mercenaries. They boast until the last moment. It's very difficult to push them out, but they stay until the end. That's why we try to corner them and not let them out. They won't escape on their own.
What do you say? I've heard about such a tactic. So there's a stronghold, right? They put some unfortunate Ukrainians there, caught by the TCC on the streets. There they sit, 3-5 people, yes, not really knowing what to do. And in their rear, there are crews, FPV operators. And so, when this stronghold starts to be stormed, the FPV operators do all the work.
In our direction, Zizhinsk, as I heard, about 600, exactly, 6 crews.
Seriously, yes.
Yes, about 600. They try to fight them, identify the points, work on these points. And regarding what you say, TCC operators, yes, there was a situation where we were cornering people. And even though we are in the same building with them, they work on this building. And it doesn't matter if it's ours or theirs, they don't care. They try to hit our infantry. And the same way, or they hit their own. They bring down houses with people inside, so they don't care whether there are people there or not.
What do you eat? In positions when our homeland provides?
Well, dry rations, dry food with water, like with water. In the hot weather, it's very hard to drink. You constantly feel thirsty. The personnel constantly asks for water, but we try to ask for help from the tower. They bring it to us in May, drop off water, and we are thankful for that.
These half-liter bottles, yes, they are half-liter ones, and often they break when thrown from the towers. Yes, often half of them break and we started wrapping them.
This bubble wrap, like this, we wrap it in 2 layers, they drop it from 40 or 30 meters, they get hit but they don't break, and that's already good.